You ever met someone who made you feel incredibly special at first, but slowly, you started losing yourself? Maybe you began questioning your own memory, your own emotions, even your own reality. And somehow, everything always became your fault. Hi, I'm Orka from Ontario, Canada, and today, I want to talk about something deeply personal for many people. Relationships that slowly become emotionally unhealthy without us even realizing it at first. And honestly, this topic feels very personal to me, because I think many of us, especially later in life, have experienced moments where love and emotional control became difficult to separate. At first, a narcissistic partner can feel almost magical. The attention, the compliments, the constant messages. Sometimes it feels like someone finally sees you completely. They may say things like, "I've never met anyone like you. You're different. I think we were meant to meet." And honestly, for someone who has been lonely, divorced, hurt, or emotionally exhausted, that attention can feel deeply comforting. And here's something important many intelligent women don't talk about enough. Sometimes, the more empathetic and understanding you are, the easier it becomes for a manipulative person to use your kindness against you. You keep giving second chances, then third chances, not because you're weak, but because you genuinely wanted to believe the best in someone. But over time, the relationship slowly becomes less about love and more about control. Little comments begin appearing. "You're too sensitive. You always overreact. That never happened. You're imagining things." And the scary part? It often starts with very small things. You remind him about something he promised to do, and he looks directly at you and says calmly, "I never said that. You must be confused again." And later that night, you find yourself checking old messages, trying to prove to yourself that you're not losing your mind. That's how self-doubt slowly begins. And maybe the hardest part is that you slowly begin defending them to yourself. You tell yourself, "He's just stressed. He had a hard childhood. He's tired. He didn't mean it. Deep down, he loves me." Because accepting the truth can feel terrifying, especially when you already invested years, love, energy, and pieces of yourself into the relationship. Sometimes, your body understands what your heart is still trying to deny. You feel constantly anxious, exhausted, unable to sleep properly. Your stomach hurts. Your chest feels heavy. You wake up already feeling tense before they even say a word. And many people live this way for years, without realizing their body has been living in survival mode the entire time. In relationships later in life, many of us are not looking for drama anymore. We're looking for peace, stability, safety, companionship. And sometimes, it becomes very easy to confuse a strong person who knows what they want with someone who simply wants control over your time, your choices, and eventually, your emotional world. Some common signs include constant need for admiration, difficulty taking responsibility, rarely giving sincere apologies, making themselves the victim, turning your needs into problems, emotional hot and cold behavior, lack of real empathy, control disguised as love or protection. And something many people don't understand, a narcissist can be extremely charming in public. Friends may adore them, coworkers may admire them, which makes it even harder when you try explaining what happens privately. One of the most painful parts is the confusion. Because not every moment is terrible. Sometimes they become loving again, sweet again, attentive again, and you start hoping, maybe things are changing. Maybe this is the real version of them. But often, the cycle keeps repeating. Affection, distance, criticism, apology, control, then affection again. Over and over. And sometimes, the hardest part isn't leaving them. It's accepting that the person you fell in love with may never have truly existed in the way you believed. People often ask, why didn't she just leave? But emotional manipulation is complicated, especially after years together. Marriage, shared finances, children, or simply the fear of starting over later in life. And slowly, your confidence begins disappearing. Not all at once, little by little, until one day you realize you no longer trust your own judgment anymore. Many survivors describe the same feeling. I didn't even recognize myself. This is a difficult question. Some people can improve if they truly recognize their behavior and genuinely want help. But real change requires self-awareness, accountability, therapy, and long-term effort. And unfortunately, many narcissistic people do not believe they are the problem. If you constantly feel anxious, emotionally drained, or confused in a relationship, pay attention to that feeling. Healthy love should not make you feel small all the time. Protecting yourself may mean trusting your instincts, reconnecting with friends and family, stopping yourself from ignoring repeated red flags, taking emotional exhaustion seriously, and understanding that love without respect is not healthy love. And if you're listening to this right now, and part of you feels uncomfortable, you do not need to make huge decisions tonight. You do not need to panic. Sometimes the first step is very small. Start writing things down. A private journal, simple notes, your feelings, your memories, your reality, a place where nobody can tell you that you imagined everything. Because healing often begins the moment you start trusting yourself again. If this video spoke to you, you are not alone. And if you feel comfortable, tell me in the comments, have you ever experienced emotional manipulation in a relationship? Thank you for being here. And remember, real life, no panic.